Hi everyone, I'm so excited. This is part 2 of the Child Whisperer overview, and our lovely Ashley Koertge is going to give us that overview. So it's been some exciting experiences for a lot of us in the last couple of weeks when we find out more about our energy type. And remember, the energy type is not your personality, it's sort of like what special superpowers you're born with. And when you accept it, it'll help you be happier, and it'll help you accept other people when you find out what the energy type is. So last week, Ashley covered type 1 and type 2. And so the type 1, we have the very energetic, happy type. And they like to have lots of ideas and fun. Fun is their main key word. So if they make decisions, it's about fun, okay? And then we have type 2 that Ashley covered. And it's about fluid, flowing, relaxed, gentle. And their main focus is comfort. So all of these focuses help us find joy in the end. The fun helps us find joy. And then the comfort helps us find joy. So if you understand your type and understand other people, you'll be able to function better. And if I could give you one example. So a mama, that's type 2. She's loving and caring, and she wants everyone to be comfortable too. And she will hold out her happiness, her comfort, until everyone is comfortable too. She wants to make sure everyone is fixed. Everyone's good and okay. But guess what? She discovers that her oldest daughter is type 1, right? And her oldest daughter really is focusing on joy and fun, okay? And doesn't really mind if she's uncomfortable, right? And so what she needs to do is just let her daughter be uncomfortable to help, to find her joy, because people who are joyful, they don't mind getting their fingers and toes and stuff dirty, and they just don't mind all of that hard work, because it brings them that happy, fun energy, and that's what they're going for, right? But then this person, the mum, she's like, needs to be comfortable. She's like, why are you doing that? It doesn't make sense. Okay, so she's imposing her energy type on her daughter. So when she found out, it was like, oh my gosh, like I need to let go because I need to be comfortable. And what happens is the ones, they shut down if you suppress their fun. Okay, so when they shut down, she's not communicating with her mum, and she feels a burden because her mum is putting her responsible for her own comfort. Because she's like, I'm not happy, I'm not going to be comfortable until you're comfortable too. But this girl doesn't need to be comfortable. Do you see what I mean? Right? So when she understands that her daughter needs this, she can, step back and be able to focus on herself and take care of her need for comfort. And then that way, her daughter doesn't have that responsibility, the heavy responsibility. Anything that's heavy, type 1 people will try to lighten. They'll lighten the mood. They'll jump in with a bit of a joke or a song or something to lighten the mood, right? And so, what do you think? Yeah?
Yeah. Yes.
It's really good to learn. And today, Miss Ashley, you take it away and you can help us understand more about type 3s and type 4s.
Okay.
Go ahead.
All right. So, well, good. You did the cover. I was going to cover them.
Oh, sorry.
But no, I'm glad. Then you're chatty chop. We can spend more time with this. Okay. So type 3 is the determined child. So kind of going back to the energy types, like Jade was saying, this, like sometimes we'll say, oh, I'm type 3, but really it's just your energy type. So it's the way that you experience the world. So like she said, type 1 is the highest vibration, not highest vibration, the highest energy, which means that they're going to be the busiest. Type 2 is going to be, like Jade said, just more smooth and gentle. And type 3 is similar to type 1 in the sense that it's high energy, but instead of a playful type of energy, it's a more push forward movement. So it can actually feel a little bit pushy or aggressive sometimes, but it's just this need to push forward. I have a type 3 daughter, and she's always excited for the next thing. Like as soon as she's 14 and gets to enter the youth group at church, that's just not enough. She wants to drive. And then from driving, she's like ready to be an adult. And then like always ready for the next thing, ready, push, always ready for the next thing, that push forward moment. Their primary connection to the world is physical. So their play is actually where like they do really well with type ones when they're younger because it's very physical, but theirs is going to be more of like, whereas type 1 would be like a lighter movement. This is going to be like a wrestling, and they really like the reaction. And then active and determined, loves like adventure, loves a challenge, loves to push forward. So if you see in number 1, it says their need is to be challenged and have new experiences with kind of guidance. So it's kind of like if you're like maybe a type 2 would feel like if you're at the playground, this is going to be the kid that's trying to climb to the top of the roof of the playground. You know what I mean? And the type 1 might would be like, oh, like that looks a little bit dangerous, but allowing them to do that adventurous thing, but with support, like, okay, maybe hold on to the rails, or maybe let's try a different surface that's less has a less scary result if you fall. So gifts and talents. Okay, so the reason why the types are important is because this is actually, when we talk about unity, it's unity to me is the cycle of wholeness. So you need the type 1s to have the ideas, which of course everybody can have ideas and everybody can do these, and it is about finding balance within yourself. But the cycle of wholeness, type 1 initiates with ideas and hope. Type 2, they gather the details and make the plans, and type 3 moves the things into action. They're ready. They're like, let's do this. Their gifts are determination to create results. So I actually have a friend visiting. Hi, Keela. But I actually have a friend visiting, and so I got these 2 boxes in. I had this like, I'm redoing my office, and I'm so excited. And I just moved it into my. We have like a rec room, so I moved it into our rec room. And so I was out doing something, and she sends me a text message, and she says, "Hey, can I put these chairs together?" And I was like, well, of course you can. Like, let's get stuff done. Keela's here. Let's get stuff done. And so that type 3 is going to be your one that's going to let's move in the progress. Like they're the legs. If the body was a type, the legs and the arms would be type 3 because they're doing. So type 3 energy moves those plans into action. Gift is creates results, which encourages around them. These are your natural leaders. They are just literally naturally the leaders. Of course, every type can be a leader, but this is your one because they're very determined. They have the idea, they're ready to go, and they push things into action. Personality traits, passionate, like both ways. Passionate love, passionate dislike. Excitement, everything's exciting to them. Whenever you tell them about something, they're going to be physically excited about something, determined, like not afraid of a challenge. Same thing, my friend who was visiting, she said, okay, I'm going to go put Hazel to bed. She's not even going to like it at all. And just boom, she does it. It wasn't like, whereas like, maybe like a type 2 would be like, oh, like try and soothe her in. The type 3 is like, it's time for a nap. She's going to be ticked off. Don't care a lick because we get stuff done. Self-confident. So this is actually really interesting. So self-confident, I actually used to feel like self-confidence, like my type 3 daughter's self-confidence was just like maybe a touch unhumble, but that's actually not true at all. Their self-confidence is natural because they just literally, they know they can just do things. They are determined. They know they can do things. They go all out and they go big. So these type 3, energy types, they're not afraid to put in the work to get the big result. Does anybody have any questions? I realize I'm just kind of blazing through. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, no, maybe so.
In the chat yet. Yeah, but this is really good, especially for the people who are type 3. Sometimes they apologize for themselves for being too strong. But
Yeah.
if you could just accept yourself and say, hey guys, I'm pretty passionate. I can get pretty passionate about stuff, you know, so that's me.
Well,
people will understand, you know.
yes. And that's with my daughter. I have a type 3 daughter. Is I was like, dear God, please don't bless her to not hurt herself or somebody around her. And God said to me, he said, oh, sweet daughter, her passion is her power. And I was like, oh, well, then let me see about how I can help her like refine this passion, because that is the thing about a type 3 is they are passionate. They leave a lasting impression. Everybody remembers the type 3s because you've either done something. Okay, here's another type 3 thing. So my daughter and I, on Sunday, we like to go for a drive and in our Jeep, and it's just fun. And so she goes, I really want to climb that palm tree over there. And I was like, okay. So I pull over on the side of the road because, hey, you know, type 1, we're exciting, we like fun. And so my daughter runs over and she climbs up on this wall and she leaps to the tree. It's a palm tree. She leaps to the tree. She grabs the tree like with her legs, squeezing it with her legs, squeezing it with her arms, no sleeves on. And then she jumps off immediately and she's like, oh, and she climbed a little bit, but she like had just tons of scratches up her legs and a ton of splinters up her legs. Like, I think, trying to think what the British people call splinters, slivers, I don't know. Anyway, but just, she was covered in it, but because she's just like, she is adventurous and she just does things. She just does it, like, boom, does it. And that's very type 3. Like they leave a lasting impression because they're going to just do the thing that they were thinking about doing and they just go for it. And like I said, a natural forward movement. So they always are pushing towards the goal, pushing towards the result, pushing towards the next thing. It's that steady walk forward. Which if you're somebody that is maybe a type 2 or a type 4, that can actually, and even a type 1, it can feel pushy if you are not honoring yourself. But once you honor yourself, you're able to honor them and allow them to do their thing and you to do your thing. Okay, so thoughts, feeling process, quick and deliberate. So a lot going on in their mind. So these are the people that, like, so a lot of people multitask, but type 3 multitasking is like they can move to these different projects, but have a very clear remembrance of I'm going to finish this one and this one and this one, and they're big projects. And like, whereas a type 1 like myself, we might just leave those ends just a touch loose. You know what I mean? But the type 3, because they are very focused on results, they will focus, do it, and then complete it. Let's see. Okay, a lot going on in their minds. Okay, quick and deliberate, like I was just saying about the palm tree. I want to jump on this palm tree. Boom, jump on the palm tree. And the same thing even with how they feel is like passionately upset about something and then boom, done. And then naturally confident. We talked about this before. They really just know that they can do things and they're not afraid of a challenge. And even with that pushing forward motion, they'll push through the challenge and are not afraid of the resistance. It's just like, oh, it's resistance, whatevsies, just push through. Any questions?
So for these people, they can be too much for especially the type 2. So I spoke to a mum this week and she was just trying to help her son get onto oils and supplements, but then her son is very type 3 and she's like, I don't know why he doesn't tell me stuff, right? And then I try to tell him stuff and he won't, you know, like respond. And sometimes type 3s, I feel like when you're talking too gently and softly and it doesn't seem like you are confident in what you're saying, And so for the mom says,
Yeah.
hey, take the supplements and stuff. It's like, she does not confident. And then also, they just like to see results. So I said to her, why don't you tell him the benefits of that? Because he wants to have something to look forward to, more energy, more this, more this, more this. Okay, so this is why. And you speak to him that way. So that was like an eye opener for her, because she's like, I'm just trying to tell him stuff, and she's trying to make him comfortable with her conversation with him. But I'm like, he doesn't care about comfort, really. He just wants results. Can you tell him about results? She's like, oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, like you're saying, so like type 1, like, oh, type 1, this is going to be so fun. We're going to do these oils. Type 2, like, oh, this will create a really soothing environment. Type 3, here are the results, that kind of thing. Type 4, they're like, we'll get there next. Okay. So communication, loud and forceful. Like I said before, so my husband is actually type 3. My oldest daughter is type 3. They are very, like, they're right to the point, like, and it can even feel like a little bit, like, oh, couldn't you have eased me into that a little bit? So they act without permission. And this is not because they are rebellious. It is because permission is an obstacle. So they're like, why would I go and ask my mom if I could go outside and play? Because that's just an obstacle. I want to go outside and play. And it's not about it being like naughty or bad. It literally is just like, I'm doing this thing. And so next time, like for instance, if there is, like, my daughter Lily, if she wanted to go out and play, I would tell her, like, I'm not going to stop you, but just tell me so I can come with you. Because if you're going to be an obstacle, then they'll either push you to get the result, or they will just go around you. So you have to show them how you can support them. Act without input. So this is something I love. It's like, they're not going to say, okay, what does everybody think about the color red today? Should we all wear the color red today? Because red is beautiful and red is fun. It's like, I'm wearing red today, and you can too if you feel like it. But it's just like, just act without input, is in the sense that, like, they usually know what they want. So reactions. So communication, this is, like I said, with my daughter. All right. So whenever you are having an intense conversation with a type 3, type 3s they actually enjoy a little bit of an argument, like not necessarily like a fight, but a little bit of a squabble, because there is the reaction there. The same thing if they're being like ignored or things like that, they're just going to be the ones poking you in the side or like flicking your ear to get that reaction, because even negative reaction is still a reaction. Okay, commanding. So like I said, natural leaders, like they know what they want, they say what they want, they go for it, and they're usually really good at results. Okay, next one, leaders and focused on results. That is kind of their big thing. The other thing about that is they even like if you're going to communicate with a type 3, like, oh, like that was so fun. No. Oh, that made me really comfortable. No. Like, wow, look at your results. Look what you did. Like my husband right now, he is making this big chicken thing with bamboo, and it's just really botanical and chickeny. And so he keeps bringing me out there to show me these different things that he's doing. And I'm always like, oh, so wonderful, excellent results. Very nice husband, very fantastical. Like, it's great. And that is just what he needs. He wants for me to see his results. It's so important for him. Okay, so any questions or comments?
Ashley, is your husband a 3 or 4?
He is a 3-4. So
okay.
his primary is a 3, and then his secondary is 4.
Okay, so I wanted to say something real quick. Like, I thought it was a 3, and then until if you think like the leadership is when I decided I was a 1, but I was gonna, like, when you guys later, I wanted to see like what if you can like do it in, like, if someone thinks that maybe you're wrong on your own assumption, can just like jump in and say, maybe, because I may not be right, and I'm just curious. Like,
I always just honor whatever somebody says they are, you just go with it. Like, even if you believe, because like I like we all have our opinions, but it's like nobody wants to be told what they are. You know what I mean? So it's like, is that what you're talking about for energy type?
Well, like my sister is a 3 for sure. Like she's a leader. She's like to the point, demanding. She likes the controversy. She's like, very confident. And I like, if like a war or something, I'm like going to be following her. Like, let me be behind her. But like, other than that, I kind of run from her because I'm afraid of that.
Literally, yes. Yeah. That is something very much so, like I said with my husband. Okay. So you have to be firm in who you are to hang out with a 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Otherwise you're going to be you're going to be a sidekick.
Yes.
And so you have to be, but that's with everything. You have to be firm in who you are. I actually have this new thing that I'm saying every day, and it is, I am determined to have a good time.
Yeah.
I say it every day. Like if I'm going somewhere and I'm going with my husband and he's like about something, I'm like, I am determined to have a good time.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be so much fun. Like I have to say it all, like I am determined to have a good time. And even if he's like, this is little the stoplights or the blah, 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 you know what I mean? Like, because sometimes they just need to have like a little bit of conflict, like a little bit of rrr. And so you're like, I'm gonna have a good time. I'm so happy to be here. The sky is so blue. And then they're like, fine, the sky is blue. And then you just party on. You know what I mean? But it's like you have to be solid in who you are to hang out with a 3.
Yeah.
Because they're powerful. It's a very powerful energy. Yeah.
Well, look, be grateful for the 3s in your lives. If you are 1 or 2, it can be very intimidating if you are not anchored in who you are. And especially 1's, kind of a chameleon, because you're like, oh, I'll be strong too. But then in your heart, you're like, that's not fun, right? And after a while, it's not fun. Yeah. So, if you go, complain, you'll be like, yeah, okay. But then you're like, but I really didn't want to complain about that. Right. So this is just a wonderful opportunity to teach yourself to stand up for yourself. So, it's good to step away from them and figure out who you are. And then, like Ashley said, decide to be anchored, decide to be determined in who you are. But these people that are 3s, if they learn the skills very well, the people skills very well, they can get people to do just about anything they want them to do. Right? So I have a friend that is 3. She's like just this beautiful hottie. And, when she wants something, she'll be like, oh my gosh, you guys, you got to come here and we're going to have to talk, and then we're like, yeah, we'll be there in like 5 minutes, right? Because it's her energy. But the way she learned to talk is she learns to adapt to other people. She'll ask permission in a very kind of a diplomatic kind of way, right? Is it okay if we just do this and this at this restaurant at this time? It's like, I've already decided, but are you guys okay with this decision, kind of thing? Instead of and caring about what, if everyone is comfortable, it's not about comfortable. It's like, if I'm, if I speak your language, I'm going to get results. That's the idea. Yeah.
Well, and also they usually know what they want. Like that is something that you'll realize is sometimes, like a lot of people really don't know what they want. Like my friend, like I said, is visiting, and I was like, oh, because I needed her. She's like so good with like designing houses and things like that. And I'm like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And she was like, oh, what do you think about this for the front? And old Ashley, who is like chameleon, like, okay, I can like anything. You know what I mean? But would have been like, yeah. But like, I was like, I'm feeling this instead because off, like they'll honor you. You know what I mean? Like 3s aren't going to push you per se, unless you don't know what you want. If you don't know what you want, then you'll just follow the leader. If you're like, well, I don't know where I'm going, we'll follow her. She looks like she does. You know what I mean? And so it's like, okay, actually, like I would say that. So I was definitely a suppressed 1. And I wanted to be a 3 because 3s felt so powerful to me. And I wanted to be powerful, but I didn't realize that I wasn't honoring myself in that, because turns out that powerful is good for 3s, but turns out for me, it's happy, fun time express. That's where I like to hang out. And so it's one of those things where as soon as you know who you are, you can operate perfectly in that cycle of wholeness, doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing, and feeling so happy and so joyful. And it's one of those things where type 3 is an excellent person to have for a friend. That is who you do want to go into battle with. You want to go into battle, and then you want to come home and have the type 2s help heal your wounds, and then you want to go see a type 4 and they'll tell you how to fight better and heal better. And so it's one of those things. It's like everybody has such an important role to play in the cycle of wholeness. Okay, so behavior tendencies. So they love and fight with intensity. They only feel things all of the way. They only feel it all of the way. So to bond with a type 3 is go do stuff with them. Like they don't want to sit at your house and just watch a movie unless that's the activity that you chose and there's popcorn and it's like a real deal. Like we're here to watch a movie, not like what else is movie time. You know what I mean? It's like you're here to watch a movie. Okay. And then physical expressions of love. They like to hug. They like to like noogie, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, is that okay? They like physical expression. You got it. They like physical expressions of love. And yes.
I really want to agree with that because I feel like my husband is, I don't know what he is, but I feel like I can see a lot of type 3s in him, and he always wants hugs, but he also hits me like when he walks past.
Yes.
And like it's like
a booty smack, like a booty smack kind of hit you. That's my husband.
Yeah, or like you know, like a noogie.
Yeah.
But it's like okay, what do you want to eat? And then I'm like X, Y, and Z, and he's like, nah. And then he'll tell me what he wants instead, you know. But I'm like, I don't understand why you even asked me.
They like
you know? Yeah. But I'm okay with those things because I don't care what I eat, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like Stephen is actually a 3-2.
Yeah, but he's kind of like a 1, but also a 4 and a 3. I'm not too sure.
Well, no, we all have it. We actually all have a little bit of
Let's
everything.
just focus on the primary.
but there's your primary and your secondary. Like mine is primary 1, so happy, fun, express, but with the side of serious. That because I'm 1-4, and then actually even from there it's 2 and 3, and so it's like that's how I experience the world. And so we're all a little bit of everything, but there's going to be like your heavy dose of, which is going to be the biggest expression.
Something that you said before is like they can be a bit like domineering, right? And I feel this way when we have arguments. Like if I'm upset about something, he'll try and chip away at my resolve. Yeah, because in general, I'm like a confident, know what I want kind of person, and so it doesn't get to me that he's a like determined person. But when I'm not, like when I'm upset about something, he'll try to chip at me, like so that we can have this kind of like, what's the word that you said before, like sort of arguing type thing.
Oh yeah, like a disagreement of some sort.
Yeah.
On
purpose, I feel.
Can you see that, though, Jamie? That, you know, if he's like got a purpose of doing something, and if you're standing too firm, it's sort of like
you're obstacle.
The result.
Yeah.
That he was.
And even if the result is changing your mind, you know what I mean? Even if the result is changing your mind, so that you can, like my husband, he's like, I'm gonna go buy a tractor, and I'm like, sounds good to me. You know what I mean? But if I were to be like, no tractor today, sweetheart, then they'd be like, oh. And so like for me, I'd be like, I want to buy a tractor. And he'd be like, maybe not today. I'd be like, okay, we'll do it tomorrow. You know what I mean? But like, it's like, and it's not even really a fight per se. It is an obstacle, and obstacles are meant to be overcome for a type 3. And so, because they've got to move forward, even if it's over you or under you or through you. Like it's gonna change. So he'll go over you or through you.
My friend, in general, just in general, I don't say no. Yeah. Because I feel like I shouldn't be like clean cut no. Yeah. I'll ask him questions instead. Yeah. Be like, oh, why do you want that? like what's the purpose of it? How does this help or benefit you? You know?
Yeah.
So guys, my friend who's a 3, she describes herself as a warrior. And that could be another way of understanding these people, because everything is like obstacle or war and challenge, yay. And it's like there's no
that's
worry. There's no challenge here. It's all smooth sailing. But they're like, no, I'll make an obstacle to go over and under. You know, and it's like, okay.
Yeah. Well, and that's very, because like even with my okay, so my daughter, who is a teenager, she if she's in a relationship and it's just like a dating relationship, she's only 16, you know what I mean? But if she's like has like a little boyfriend, like she's always gonna like a little bit, you know what I mean? Like she's gonna be like, oh, it's starting to fight.
Picking a fight.
Yeah, like she's kind of like she'll say something real sassy, and then they'll be like, "What the heck?" And she'll be like, "Yes, it's time to fight." You know what I mean? Like and I feel like that you mature out of that as a 3, because I would say my husband does not like to fight with me now, but we will disagree, because I don't go to battle with him, because this is the other thing about a 3 is you don't ever up a 3, because they'll only go higher. So if here's a 3, you just come down here, you just go at peace, because then they'll cool down. But their element is literally fire for a purpose. And so like if the free's like, you're like, oh, hands up. Okay, hands up. And so I surrender. I'm not saying you're right, but you don't like go head to head with the 3, because they'll only go harder. They don't back down. And so
yeah, so they're okay with that discomfort of the struggles.
Yeah.
Okay.
They enjoy it.
Type 2 mothers, if you have type 3 kids or whatever, just let them be, because they're good for it.
Yeah, well, that's even my husband and my daughter, who are both 3s. Like they will, and I'm like, Lily, walk away. And she's like, oh, I'm sorry, but I don't walk away. And that's the same as my husband. And I'll be like, okay, I'm going to bed. Y'all just have at it, and you can be mad until the morning. And because they just don't back down. They don't back down.
Yeah, and then that's the one in you, Ashley. The one is like, oh, too heavy. Not
pass through. Yeah. Passeroo. Well, and that's even her. We went on a walk, and she said something really sassy to me, and I was like, I am really just trying to enjoy myself here. And she was like, rah, 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 and just trying to like have a fight. And I was like, I'm gonna pass, and I just walked away. And then she realized, okay, I am being a jerk, and I'm sorry, because she was just looking for a fight, because she was bored. And so I was like, pass. I don't do that. If you want to fight, you can call your dad. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna fight with you. And so, because I like to be happy. And so you just walk away. Unless you like to fight, then go to town.
The good thing for those people is to hone their energy into creation of some sort.
Yes. Sort of like, and that's about being bored. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's about being bored. The fight is about being bored. I'm bored. There's where am I going to go? I can't push anyone or anything. It literally is about being bored. In a relationship or in an activity, like I said, sitting on the couch watching a movie. If Lily's bored, she's going to be poking somebody in the side, and then there's going to be a fight, and then she'll be smiling, and it'll just be exactly what she wanted. Yeah. Okay. And anybody else?
It's brilliant. Jamie, your husband's definitely a 3, because he'll get cabin fever if he's not able to go for a run or work out. He'll be like, have this energy that I need to let out.
He exercises 3 times a day, morning, afternoon, and night.
That's probably a good thing if you don't want him stifling that. Yeah.
I think he gets very cranky if he doesn't get to exercise, especially when it's raining or something.
Yeah.
And I feel like my little one has a tiny bit of type 3. So she loves to argue, and then she gets her way, because we just can't deal with it.
Yeah, for sure.
Revelation for you, Jamie.
Well, the thing is, I'm okay with letting it be, but the older one just can't. She just can't deal with that, because she's so black and white.
That's type 4.
Yeah, like she's a type 4, my eldest, and she will just be like, there is only one answer to everything. You know, and the little one is like, well, there could be like 10 answers to these things. And that's where the conflict is.
Yeah. And they'll outgrow it. They'll outgrow that. They do. I say that. I say that. My husband is a 3. My husband is a 3. And my brother-in-law is a 4. And just recently they have made peace, just recently. And that's because my type 3 husband would always disrespect my 4 and brother-in-law, and 4 is all about respect. Okay.
Yes.
So, all right. So natural leaders, am I at communication? Yes. Or behavior tendencies. Okay. Fight with intensity, physical expressions of love. Okay. Love's reactions. Like I said, like, okay, these are like, they are going to be jumping out from a corner to scare me so that I scream or something. Like they just love the reaction. So whenever you're dealing with, a kid, so don't try and stop their energy. Like if they're running towards the street, you don't just stand right in front of them, grab them and move them to the side and let them keep running. Otherwise they will fight you, they will push. It's about redirecting the energy. You don't stop that force. They are literally a force of nature. So you don't stop their force, you just redirect the energy. If they're fighting, say, oh my gosh, like, look at this thing over here and it's a lot of energy and you can put all that energy over here. It's about redirecting the energy. Like I said, even with the fight, you know what I mean? Redirect the energy, redirect it somewhere. You can't stop it. You know what I mean? You can't stop it, or you can, but it's going to be violent, and it's better just to redirect. Natural leaders, natural entrepreneurs, and these are the most naturally competitive, and that's either with themselves or with others because they like the result. They want to see that they did better than they did last time. Like if they're running a race, like, oh, did I hold my breath for 5 seconds this time? Well, I want to hold it for 7 next time. You know what I mean? So it's with themselves, it's with others. It's just naturally competitive because they love those results. Any questions? Okay, physical characteristics. So these are the ones that have the kind of interesting noses. So nose angular, so like if there's any kind of bumpies in there, or like the beak nose, like the bigger nose, which I feel like these are terrible descriptions. Actually, I know many, like my daughter, who is a type 3, is beautiful and has a beautiful nose. She's like lump of clay, outrageous. But she does have like this little, and then anyway, asymmetrical hairline, like that's going to be your widow's peak, even though I have one. Pointed chin. Okay, both my husband and my daughter have a cleft in their chin. Okay, I can't see the word beside middle of cleft. What does that say, guys?
Texture.
Okay, textured skin. Okay, so when they're younger, you won't really be able to see that as much. But textured skin, so that's going to be like dry here, oily there, just kind of the different kind of skin types in different places, but also texture, like maybe like, and texture like can be like bumpy, not necessarily like acne per se, but just like a bumpier skin tone. It's going to be less smooth. All right. Yeah.
So my husband has like kind of like a curve on his nose.
Yes.
And it's really long and pointy.
Yeah. That's gonna be your angular nose. Yeah. Yeah. It's usually it's gonna be like those are gonna be.
He has a very long chin as well.
And those are and does he have a cleft? Both my husband and my daughter have clefts.
No, he doesn't have a cleft, but I would say his skin is a little bit textured as well.
Yeah. And like I said, it's not necessarily acne. It's just not going to be like your, like,
it's not like baby smooth. It's opposite of that.
Yeah.
But my little one also has a very pointy nose.
Yeah. But if you think about that, like even if you think about the energy of it, it's something pushing forward. You know what I mean? It's that push forward nose even. You know what I mean?
Well, she has this like angry face, like her nose points downwards and it's like pointy and
yeah. Well, even like angry. Yeah, well, and they usually have, like I said, they leave an impression where they go because they have an interesting, everything about them is powerful. Okay, so all right, so number 8 is child whisperer type things. Child whisperer top 10 things type 3 energy needs. Physical activity or contact. Make sure these children are playing. Otherwise, you're going to see fighting and wrestling and picking. They need a physical outlet every day. And if it's challenging, even better. So challenges. So she was saying, so the lady that wrote this book, her name is Carol Tuttle. She's awesome. She was saying that her mom was a type 2. And so she needed her to sit down. So she was really good at like needlepoint and got so good that she would make like these kits that they would sell in stores. And so it was a challenge that was okay for her. My husband, like I said, he is also type 3, and he is energetic, but he also likes to do, it's called overlanding. And it's like driving out in the wilderness with your truck, like adventure time or whatever. And so he likes the challenge, even though it's not necessarily physical per se. He likes the challenge of, I don't know, not getting stuck, I guess. I don't know. He does stuff sometimes.
That's physical, but using his big truck.
Yeah, exactly. Which is an adventure truck, which is actually another word for type 3s, is they're very adventurous. So reaction to results. If they want to show you something like, oh, look at this thing I did. Oh, it's wonderful. I love it. You know what I mean? Like big reaction. You're not like, oh, nice. Like, oh, awesome. Okay. All right. What's beside reaction to results? What is that?
Validation.
Oh, there it is. Validation. So, okay, this is something where if you broke your child, like I accidentally broke my daughter, she's type 3, is I told her, I was like, you're actually really hard. And that's because I wasn't secure in being happy. And I literally told my daughter when she was younger that she was difficult, because she was difficult for me because I wasn't secure in who I was. And so I wasn't able to be secure around her. And even my husband, like I literally were like, y'all are hard. And that's because I wasn't secure in myself. So literally, you're not hard. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You are fantastic. Validate them. So you are just right. Okay. Time to do things with you. So they want to do things with you. So like play a game or yes.
Actually, that kind of tortures me a bit because my husband loves sports so much, and he watches basketball, reads about basketball, looks at basketball shoes and everything basketball and fantasy basketball. And he goes on and on about it. And if I'm not paying attention, or if I don't seem interested, if I walk away, game over. He's upset with me, you know?
Yeah. He's not hard. He just needs you to listen about the thing that's so important to you. Even
it drives me insane because for how many years we've been together, I patiently wait for him to finish, but it's like, I want to do my own thing too.
Yeah. So then, yeah. So then you
put it back to him, but he can do it to me.
So but that's about him needing more validation from you. Like, it's okay for you to like basketball. It really is. And you definitely should. But when you're like, for me, like my joke with my husband is, because he wants to talk to me about cars, is I'm like, oh, let's go talk about furniture. Because there's this new store that I want to XYZ. Because he's good to challenge me, but he doesn't like it when I challenge him. You know what I mean? Like, he can be like, oh, this color is black. And I'll be like, well, it's more gray to you. How dare you argue with me? Why do you always argue with me? And I'm like, because you're insecure. You know what I mean? And so it's just one of those things, which my husband is wonderful. I will go ahead and say it. He's a wonderful man. He's a wonderful man. Anyway, but that's just about him being insecure, and he'll get better, especially let him be mad. Because that's the thing. Let him be mad. Yeah. Be like, turns out you're mad, and turns out you're mad about me.
The two in you, Jamie, the two in you is upset that he's not comfortable. But he doesn't, it's okay that he's uncomfortable because he likes that big energy, big reaction.
Yeah, and he doesn't mind the bickering because it's like, he's like, I'm talking to you about this new game I'm playing. And I'm like, yeah, I heard you talk about it for 2 minutes already. Like, what more do you want?
Yeah, that's the negative attention. He was okay with, he was like cool with positive attention, but he's also good with negative attention.
Yeah.
He's good with, he's like, I'll fight. That's fun too. You know what I mean? And so,
I understand that.
Yeah, literally, I'm just like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Just smell you later. Yeah, and yeah, so that's just the thing. Just let them be mad, because they want to be mad anyway, and then they'll calm down. Yeah. They wanted to be mad anyway. Yeah, it's just a fight. That's what I've seen.
The two in you just wants them to be comfortable, but seriously, let them.
Let him be mad. Well, and that's okay. So this is really terrible. So, and this is something that I created. I didn't realize that when I was younger, but I would tiptoe around my husband's emotions because, like I said, type 3 explosive, you know what I mean? And so it was like, oh, don't wake the baby. You know what I mean? Like, don't make the baby scream, you know what I mean? Which is terrible to say. But then it's like, let the baby scream, because then he'll learn how to self-soothe, or he'll learn how to learn to go to God to figure it out. So now I make the baby upset all the time. And now he's even turned into a big boy and he doesn't even get upset. And so, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, he'll like, be you and he'll adjust. It'll be just fine. Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah. So my husband is not a baby. He is a wonderful, wonderful man. I feel like I'm tossing him under the bus repeatedly, but he is fantastic. Okay. All right. Let's see. Time to do things with you. Are you going on a date, Jamie? Are you going on dates with your husband?
Yes.
Then you're good. You're good. Because they do like that one-on-one and something physical. Go throw an axe, like go pull grass out of the ground, just something physical.
The thing is, he wants to do things with me, but he is determined to watch or do the things that he enjoys.
Well, then that's where you find your balance. That's where you find your balance. You're like, oh, let's plan our dates for the month. So you get to, I get to, and then if he's like, wah, you're like, well, how's that fair? And then since he loves you, he'll make it fair.
No, so if I'm planning everything, then he's got no say because he didn't put any input in, and that's just too bad. That's fine and all. It's just like what I said about, say, the basketball thing. It's like, you know, I'm not interested in it, but yet I still have to hear about these stats that I don't even know who you're talking about, you know. And it's like been 15 years.
Yeah.
You know, sorry.
No, you go. Your turn. Tag, you're it.
Okay. He said to my daughter, don't tell people about the YouTube video you watch because no one understands what you're talking about. And yet I'm thinking, is this the pot calling the kettle black? You know? It is. But he doesn't see that he does that too.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, like I said with my husband with the overland stuff, like you have your own thing and he has his own thing, but he just needs to be okay with you having your own thing. And as soon as you're secure in your own thing, and let him he'll be secure in his own thing. So I didn't realize this about myself, is I actually, which I don't think that you do this, but I like created this thing where it's like, I spent all the time with my kids, and then he got to spend time with kids too, but then he had like a cool hobby, you know what I mean? And so I would almost be like upset about the hobby, but then when I got my own hobby, he was like, well, so I'm here, why aren't you here? And I'm like, oh, I do own my own thing now, you know what I mean? And he was like, oh. And so it just took some time, like I'm saying, maybe you don't do this even a little.
I'm very much independent, and I don't need a lot of affection, which causes him grief. I have to
kiss your hand.
I have to remember I need to give him a bit of affection.
Yes, he likes physical.
And like,
literally,
what is it? Praise for accomplishment, time with
and
me.
also acts of service. Like see me like listening to your video game thing, and then like and then like cleaning up after your like basketball party, see me serving you and loving you, and then he'll be like, yes, you did. Yeah, that's serving him. That's another way, because they like the result. Yeah,
we gotta.
I don't want to go above and beyond. I just do what I feel like I need to do. Yeah. But like, it's just always the same thing. It's like, I need more. I'm like, you fill your own cup. Don't come over here.
That's literally 100% of it is he is relying on you to fill his cup. Yeah. Because and that's like you, unless like you can drown a camel, if they don't open their mouth, they'll die thirsty. You know what I mean? And that's with love, even like you can drown the camel and they'll die thirsty if they don't let it in.
Yeah. And I think because I don't like the conflict, I like peace, that it like rubs me the wrong way when he would like continually pick fights about this. Like, we don't really fight often, but it's just like these little like jabs at me.
Yeah. Well, and did you tell him? I don't like that. I really don't like, because that was something my husband would do. Like we had this thing. So, okay, this is something I used to do because I used to hide my Amazon purchases. I'll go ahead and say it out loud. It's true. I'm trained. But anyway, so I would totally like buy something online and then like leave it outside until he wasn't paying attention, and I bring it in because I didn't want him to like drill me about how much it costs, yada yada. And then after that, I would put it on and he'd be like, oh, is that new? And I'd be like, oh no, I've had this for like ever. Like, I can't believe you didn't notice. You know what I mean? And so that's like his joke with me was like, I get something new, and I don't do that anymore. Now I'm like, here's my bag and I'm smiling. I don't care if you see it. And so, like, I'm like, yeah, it's new. I'll try it on for you right here. And I'll tell you how much to pay for it and you can be happy about it. But old Ashley used to be like that. And I didn't realize that was because I was fearing his reaction, because I was trying to, like I said, keep the baby happy. And it's like, it's one of those things where, you know, like he was saying to me, like this joke was like, oh, is like, obviously it was new. I'd be like, oh no, I've had this for you. He'd be like, oh, have you had that for a few weeks? Like mocking me. And I don't do that anymore. And so I said, I actually really don't like that, because that's the other thing about communication, direct communication.
Yeah.
Like, I really don't like that. It's like shaming to me, and it's you picking at me, and I really don't like it. Can you please stop and never do it again? And he was like, Dunzo. Well, first he got his feelings hurt a little bit, but then he was like, stop. Yeah. And so, and then it was done. You know what I mean? And then he never has.
I have no qualms in hurting his feelings, because I'm a type 4, so I tell him what I don't like.
Yeah.
And so that's how we got to the point where we work very well together.
Yeah.
It's just these long-lasting things that get to me still.
Yeah.
You know, I'm actually the one who's opposite with you and your husband, in that sense where he's the one that buys things, not me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what did you buy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm kind of like, I guess because you have that dynamic of a 1 and a 3, it's a bit different.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm also very like strong as well.
Yeah.
And so we have different strength energy.
Yeah.
3 and a 4. Yeah. So we got to go to the 4 now, guys. Like, we got to.
Well, do you want, so like, it's been like an hour. Do you want to just do that for the business call?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you guys, do you want to do that, continue on with that? Yeah, throughout the next call, because I was going to cover a little bit of that too. So I don't mind. And if you guys are okay with that, we could do that. But before that, I asked Ginger and Maria to take the test. Did you guys take the test? Did you find out what number you are?
Yeah, I took it. I was a number 1.
Yeah. Okay. And then your son, you said, is a 3. So now you know why he's a bit much.
Actually, you know what? I don't think he's as bad as that, because he doesn't pick fights.
Yeah.
But everything else was exactly him.
Yeah, he's just strong. That's good.
The big fight thing is my other son.
Yeah.
So when you mentioned that we've all got a little bit of all of them, I was like, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because everything you mentioned was definitely my younger son, but the fighting bit was definitely my older son, because when he's bored, he's poking and he's looking for reactions, and I've got to keep him stimulated.
But Max could be, self-entertaining, so he doesn't pick fights because he's already engaged in something.
That's exactly what he is. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And sorry, Ginger, did you find out?
I found out, but I don't, I'm such a mess right now. I tested a 1, but I don't believe it.
Maybe muscle test. Do you know a muscle test?
No.
Yes,
Okay.
you do. We're going to do that when we see you next month as well.
Yes.
But I agree. I feel like you've been a suppressed one, because the way you respond to our everything that we say and post, you respond really fun and just with brightness. And the way you decorate your house is fun.
Okay, that is 1. I've seen the decorations. That is 1.
Okay,
Ginger
I'm a 1. Yay, thank
you.
you.
And it's really important.
Just like to know what I am.
Yeah, it's really important. If you know who you are, then you can accept yourself, and then you're not hard on yourself. Because look, Ginger, if you say, oh, I can't remember stuff and I can't organize and I can't da 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 da, and you get mad, but it's just you saying to yourself, why can't I be like that person? But
Yeah.
I'll explain a little bit more, and Ashley too, with ones, you're not carrying, you don't need to carry the heavy load because that's other people's job, right? With you,
Like they enjoy it.
you're the
other
party
people enjoy
person.
it.
Yeah, you create the fun and joy. You are the face of the party and say, and you're the welcomer. And then, then other people can do the stuff. So if I was trying to explain this to my kids, and I said, pretend that we're at a party, okay? So the ones will be the welcomers, and then she's probably almost outside the door because people can see in, and she's having fun, and people are like, what is that? I'm interested. And she's like, it's in here. This is the place you need to be. And so they're all attracted to them, and they laugh and have fun. And when they get inside, right, you get the twos, and the twos like, let me give you hugs and love.
Let me make you a drink. Would you like a snack?
Let's eat food. Here you go. And then the threes,
Yeah.
let me show you how to do this dance, right? And so they're like, yeah. And you move it this way. and then when you're doing it and you're having fun, the fours will say, hey, here's how you do it better. So
I watched you and you sucked the whole time. And so
sucked
here's
the
how you
whole
do it better.
time.
I really judged you
yourself.
fully. I judged you, and this is how you do it correct.
Yeah, not judging, but
I'm just,
this is how
I'm
you
just,
don't hurt yourself. Right.
It's not the right technique. Okay.
Just polish
So
this.
to
technique.
turn
you
out
just did it like this. You just did it like this. Yeah.
So Ginger, it's like that's your responsibility, is to have joy and fun, and then lighten the mood of things.
And then what?
Lighten the mood.
Like in the mood.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what everyone else needs you to be, right? You don't need to be like everyone else, because who's going to be here to lighten the mood? And I
Yeah.
think
So you playing your part is important. Yeah.
Well, this is enlightening. You
So,
guys know
Maria-
so much about yourselves.
Right, Maria's
Jamie,
one.
just-
Yeah.
Yeah, Jamie just knows herself totally. That's just amazes me.
And
Well,
we-
I'm getting there.
Oh,
You're getting there. You're doing a great job.
well,
Getting there.
okay.
You're having fun the whole way.
So Ashley's a one, Ginger's one, Maria's one. So it's good to know. Kat's one. Yeah. So just keep an ear out and eye out for the things that you can accept about yourself, and just be okay with other people being them. And it's just going to be so much lighter and freer for you.
Good. Sounds good to me.
So sorry, is the recording of the other one on the messenger chat?
Yeah. There's a
Okay.
recording, and I think I put it on my YouTube channel as well.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Go on.
Am I partying on? Are we doing this? Do you want to make it a 2-hour call, or do you want to
Yeah,
do two?
just do it. Just do it. Yeah.
Party on, party on.
That's important, I feel. Yeah.
Party on, party people. Okay. All right. So type 4, the more serious child. Okay. So I actually have 2 type 4 sons. Okay. Primary connection is intellectual. So if this was a body, then this would be the head, because it's just like really just kind of like watches. Movement straightforward and exact. So this actually does not mean like they're sitting still like in a corner like a statue all the time. It just means that when they move deliberately. So need, this is huge for type 4, is to be respected and to respect and return. So like I said with my sons, when I realized this, I was like, oh dang, you know what I mean? Like I'll do it better now, but you know what I mean? Like making sure that they're respected, like, and they're actually easily, like, they do not like to be like, we'll get into that. Okay. Sorry. Number 2, gifts and talents. So next phase in the cycle of wholeness. So like I said, type 1 initiates with ideas and hope. I analyze it like this. Like if you're making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, type 1, if you're like, hey, we're hungry, type 1's like, how about a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Let's do it. And then type 2 is like, oh, I'll get the plates and the peanut butter and I'll set them out, and we have the napkins and I've got the knife and the jelly is the right temperature. And then type 3 is like, I'm making the sandwich, and they have the knife and they're slathering it and they're jellying, and then action is happening and they smash it, and then they even eat it. And then type 4 says, okay, guys, so I saw you make that sandwich. And if you make it like this, like the peanut butter won't come off the sides and get all over your hands along with the jelly. If you actually hold it with a napkin, then you won't even have to wash your hands when you're done. And also, in addition to that, turns out turkey sandwiches are better. You know what I mean? And so it's just so like that's type 4. That's type 4. Okay.
Ashley, you're just killing me, Ashley.
Is that you? Did I?
Oh,
Cracking
right.
me out. My husband is so messy and it drives me insane. And I just stare at him with my eyes. I'm thinking like, why can't you just do it this way?
Here's a napkin. You should have already known this.
It's so funny. My husband's the same way, but it's kind of interesting that he'll clean up my things. Like if I'm making a sandwich,
Yes.
and I happen to leave it out.
Yes.
It doesn't matter how much stuff he has out. My stuff goes in the fridge.
Yeah. So, and the other thing is, and it's about perfecting the plan. You know what I mean? It's about perfecting the plan. So this is like the period at the end of the sentence, like that makes it complete and whole. So they inspire respect. People naturally respect 4s because they usually know what they're talking about because they've looked at the whole picture and they've gone through all of the choices in their head. And then when like this is even my son with math problems, like I feel like I'm like I said, type 1. So I like to write all the pieces down and write all the way down to the bottom of the multiplication problem and all the signs and all that. But he's like, here's the problem, here's the answer. You know what I mean? And I'm like, well, where's the work? And he's like, and I'm like, that was long. You know what I mean? That was long. And he's like, but the answer is always right. You know what I mean? And so they don't need all of the movement. They're more exact. They inspire respect. They perfect the world. They have a keen eye for detail, which actually some people can say that they're critical sometimes, but really it's not criticizing, it's perfecting. And so if you see it as that, if you see it as perfection instead of criticism, which that's about being secure. If you're insecure, it feels like you're being criticized. If you're secure, you see it as improvement in retrospect. Okay, so personality traits, naturally independent. Like they're not going to be the people, like I said, type 1s are like, hey, party over here, and like all the people, and then type 2, but type 4 is going to sit back and they're going to watch the party and they're going to say, okay, well, I see all these people. I feel like I like that person. And so they'll still go up and talk to them. Like I said, it's not like they're like a pariah or something. They're not at all, but they analyze everything and then they decide their movement. All right, focused. So like I said, like they can actually get kind of really honed in on certain things. Bold. So the bold thing is, it's like they were standing there. It looks like that they were totally in their head, and they were, and then boom, movement. And so that boldness is actually, that's what it is. It's like a very direct movement. Mature. So this is actually literally the exact opposite of type 1. So type 1s actually, as a child, people expect childlike behavior, and type 1s are actually misjudged as adults by themselves, and also other people, as in like they can be childish or they can be immature. But then type 4s can be misjudged as a child, and like why are you so serious? Why, like, lighten up, like smile more, and can be misjudged as a child. And people can even actually think that they have learning delays sometimes because they're not just chittering. They say what they got to say, and then the rest is in their head. They're usually not the super chatters. Let's see. Okay, authoritative. So if they respect you, then they will listen to you, but that respect is reciprocal. Like if you give it, you'll receive it. If you respect them in their space, then they will respect you in your space. Authoritative. So they talk like they know what they're talking about, because they usually do, because they usually thought it all over, And if they're talking about it, it's because they know about it. If they don't know about it, they'll stand there and listen to you and decide and silently judge you, whether you're full of crap or whether you know things. Not really, but also totally. Okay. So logical, respectful. So if they respect you, then you get respect. If they don't respect you, you don't get respect. Like they can actually be like, especially with my sons, if they're respectful. So, and here's the other thing about that respectfulness is if you disrespect them because they're naturally bold, they can actually be explosive. And so if you disrespect them, they can be explosive. So naturally serious because they take themselves serious, and so they take other things serious. Mature, precise. Guys, what's behind precise? Oh, where is that? No, it's on number 3. So mature, precise.
Own authority.
Okay, wait, what is it?
Precise, own authority.
Okay, so they are their own authority. This is actually a big thing for them. So it's actually one of those things, like the reason why they're on authority, they are their own authority, is because they have looked at the whole, they have looked at each detail, they have really researched and really thought introspectively about this thing. And so because of that, they have taken that time and they respect their time and respect themselves. And even if it's something that maybe you don't necessarily think is really mature, like maybe somebody really likes farm animals, you know what I mean? And they're like 7, but then they also are still really into farm animals when they're like 17, you know what I mean? Like it's sometimes they can be misjudged in the sense that like the thing they took seriously is maybe not a serious thing. But because they are their own authority, if you disrespect them on their thing or judge them or tease them or that kind of thing, then that actually was very shaming to them. And so they really don't like that. Okay, so respect their, no, we're up here, okay. Introspective, systematic. So I actually feel like with Jade, like she did all these different modalities of like energy balancing and different things. She said, okay, well, here's all of it. And I see these things, and these things are good, and these things are crap. And this is how we make it better. And that's how we got energy balancing thing, is that introspection and that systematic process of things. Any comments?
Ashley, I like what you've been saying. Like, you know, we can see ourselves and accept ourselves, or we can see ourselves and hear what other people say, and then like kind of reject ourselves. Like you said, as a child, they're misjudged as too serious. And so that kind of starts this trend of, you know, you're not valuable, and you're not fun. Right. And so for the 4s, I think one of the biggest thing is that they are valuable, and they have to just kind of own their space. And I think if they understand that about themselves, like for me, I feel like I respect me, and I'd like to have respect. And when I wasn't secure, I would interpret everything as disrespectful. So if people were, you know, butting in, so my husband and I had this conversation, because when I sit down and do a session with somebody and we're getting serious, and then we're having tears, and you know, we're getting into the deep and meaningful stuff, and I'm like, okay, because this is really going to help this person alleviate this pain. When he feels that energy, he'll try to be silly and he'll be loud, and then he'll just gonna, you know, try to lighten the load. That's his thing, but he doesn't realize, to me, in my mind, that's disrespectful. So I we share it, and I'm like, what are you thinking? And he's saying, well, it was just too heavy, right? And I just wanted you to be happy. And I'm like, well, I don't need to be happy right now. I need you to be respectful. And then so it taught me to not see everybody through those lenses. So if I understand that somebody is 1, I would say, okay, you know, she's doing that and he's doing that so that he can have fun. All right, great. That person's doing that so they can have comfort. That person's doing that because they want to get results. And it makes it so much easier to speak to people, and then just to get where they're coming from. So it makes us more Christ-like. But the other night, another day on Friday, was the lady, she commented that said, Satan wants us to really not accept ourselves, and that's how he can shut down our superpower.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like Ginger, like your mum could have been a 3, you know, and so, or a 4, and you know, you probably just didn't allow yourself to be you, right?
I
And
didn't.
yeah, so if she's made all the decisions for you, you
Yep.
couldn't find yourself to
Nope.
be like, what is fun? What is fun? What do I like to have? And then you just kind of like let people's energy be, because that was just big, strong energy. And you are about, you know, lightening up the mood. So you're not going to add to that energy, right? So I feel like this is really important to learn.
It is.
Yeah.
What did you say you thought my mother was?
Yeah, she could be a 3 or 4. This is just the way we were trying to
Okay.
understand her, right? So, you know, for the 3s, people might label you as pushy, you know, or too overbearing. But if you believe that, then you won't accept yourself. But if you know that you're passionate, that you are strong and determined, then, you know, you can say, put me to work. If you want stuff done, I'll be the one that's like focused and determined, and I'll get it done, right? So it's sort of like honoring yourself.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, you know, it's just an example. So with ones, like my husband this morning, even he apologized. He's like, I should mature up. And I said, oh, no, you don't need to, right? Because he's like, I have these funny ideas and da, 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 da. And I said, look, you know, that's the basis of your decision. He's very organized. He's a 1/4, and it's kind of funny, but now I realize why he's so organized. He organizes himself so well because the end result is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even to me, looking at the organization is fun, because I'm a 1/4. That's the same as me. I'm a 1. I have type 1 and then a side of 4.
Yeah.
But I feel like that. I feel like that, like you said before, this is literally Satan's way to start us from the beginning, like disowning ourselves and not knowing ourselves. Because that was me for a long time. Like I wanted to be a type 3, or I shouldn't say wanted to be. I was acting in a type 3 energy because I wanted to be respected. But the only reason why I felt disrespected is because I didn't honor in myself, because I didn't honor my happiness. I would even apologize for talking too much. I would apologize for like being like kind of loud and expressive and all of these things. That turns out those are the things that people love about you. Like type 3s, people love their passion. Type 2s, people love their peace and comfort. Type 1s, people love their happiness and their fun. Type 4s, people admire them and respect them. But it really is this way for literally Satan to try and deceive us into thinking that what we are naturally is bad. Because like you were saying about Ben, I thought to myself, well, I'm not mature, or maybe I need to mature up, or whatever. And so that's the same for like a 4 as a child. You mean like, you're just like, so my son, Ben, he is 13 now. So there's like this meme that is like called Sad Keanu. And it's Keanu Reeves, who's like type 4 energy. And he's always like sitting somewhere like looking sad. And so we used to always call Ben like, oh, Ben's doing a sad Keanu. And it's not sad. You know what I mean? It's just serious and thoughtful. You know what I mean? It's serious and thoughtful. And he's got this dark hair and this very beautiful but serious face. You know his face. And people are always like, oh, are you upset? He's like, I'm not sad. Why do people keep asking me if I'm sad? And I'm like, it's because you're contemplating, and because you're young, they expect you to be smiling all the time. You know what I mean? But like, it doesn't matter what they expect. Know who you are and be comfortable in it.
Yeah.
And so
once you know that superpower, this is what's amazing. Like Ashley, she recognizes her superpower of fun and joy now. So like her perspective changes. You know, so for example, if she is painting her work, her doTERRA work, or whatever her work she does as fun, then all of a sudden it's like she can do that and achieve that, because her idea is, this is fun. Like the Silver Club challenge, when she thinks of it as a game, she wants to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think, you know, we have that superpower to own our, we have the power to own that superpower, right? And to change perspective on what things are. So, you know, if we think that's not comfortable, I'm outside the box, then you're not going to do it. But if you say, when I do it, I'm going to be more comfortable, then you will jump into that challenge because your perspective has changed. So if you're number 2, you know, you're like, I'm scared of discomfort. But if you say, okay, I'm going to be more comfortable on the other side, right? Then you will like allow yourself to do stuff. Yeah. I used to have people tell me, like one guy at church, he's like, are you mad at me? Because every time I look at you, you look like you're mad. And I was like, oh my gosh, that's probably my thinking face. Like, I don't even remember looking at you, sorry. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to kind of like change my face, right? But because of that, I find that it helps me be a great teacher to kids. So I walk in the room and it's like, oh, be good. So I'm like,
Jade's here.
Yeah,
everybody be on their best behavior. Jade's here. Yeah.
So anyways, but I respect them and then in turn have a fun time. So anyways, now I own it and I'm like, okay, I'm not scary or mad. I'm just serious. So, and it's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah. Okay. So personality traits. Did I already do this? Yes. Okay. Thoughts and feeling process. So like she was saying about her daughter, black and white, like you've already seen all the options. You've already seen all the choices. Obviously this is the correct choice and this is one is not. Or just like my son, Ben, he, I tell this story about cookies. Okay. So we had this friend that visited us and brought us cookies. And he was probably about 4 or 5. And they were those drop cookies that have like the oatmeal and the peanut butter anyway. So she's like, oh, here you go, Ben, here's these cookies. And he picks up the box. He literally sighs. He's like he's completely exhausted. And he's only 4 or 5. Okay. And he goes, I don't like these cookies, but I do have cookies in my kitchen that I do like. So I'll just go put them on the counter. And I was like, a simple thank you would have done, Ben. A simple thank you would have done. But because it's like, I don't like these cookies. Like, it's just what it is. Like, that's just the truth. There's only, I like these cookies and I don't like these cookies and I don't like these cookies. So yeah, set them on fire. I don't care. You know what I mean? And so it's like, just very like black, white. Like the same thing, all or nothing. Deep thinkers. So they're going to be, like I said, they look at the whole next word, whole picture. So they look at all of it and they say, this is good, this is crap, and this is how you can make it better. And guys, check this out. You know what I mean? And so that's how they see the world even. Thorough, same thing, looking at all the options. Selective with who, what does that say? Selective with who it's on for.
Okay.
Who they share.
Who they share with. So, and that is the same with, like I said, I have these 2 sons. And so if they feel like they're going to come to you and they're going to tell you their feelings or their thoughts and you're going to respect them, they will share with you. But even when they do share with you, they still don't share every last bit. They'll share a big fat hunk, but not every last bit. And so, but they will open up to you. But it's only if they know that they're going to be respected when sharing their opinions. If they feel like they're going to be disrespected, then sorry, Charlie, you don't get to participate in a private relationship with them. So, and okay, also honor their boundaries. Like, don't be pushing. Otherwise, you mean like you're just not going to share with them because they don't feel like their boundaries have been honored. And so, like I said, with my sons, like I know I can ask them about certain things. They actually really hate repeating themselves because they feel like if like you didn't want to hear them in the first place, and so they're not going to repeat themselves. So I'll say to him, because I'll have 5 kids screaming my car, and Ben will want to like dole out some deep thoughts, and I'll be like, "What was that, Ben?" And he's like, "Nothing." And I'm like, I really want to hear you. I love to hear your words and your thoughts. Nothing. And it's just gone. Like, it's just gone. I might never, ever have that experience again because he's also My son is like a vault. You know what I mean? Like if you put it in and if you share something, it's in the vault and you might never see it ever again. Because he holds it in his heart. Okay. Anybody have any thoughts?
Yes.
Okay, so I have a couple of thoughts. I was thinking that about the 4, reading that too. I think that some people are more like, I mean, it reminds me of great politicians that could be politicians, but they are not the type of people that would be politicians because they're so, I mean, maybe, and their passion is there, but it's like, because I see, and I love Ben, and I see him as like a future, someone that's very saintly. And but anyway, and Jade too, I can see that in people. I know for sure they're the ones that I follow. I shy away from 3s, but I'm realizing my message now is to 1. So this is really helping me own my power. So thank you.
Yeah, good job. That's right. That she had so many ideas and she was trying to get organized and all these things. And I'm like, Kat, make it fun. And then you could see her shoulders go, oh, okay.
Yeah.
And don't worry about the 3s when they come. It's like, no, you don't want to be here because
It's
it's going to be
natural. It's so much easier. Yes. Thank you.
Yes,
This is
that's
great.
right. Yeah.
And this is so good to help me understand other people's personality types too. So I would encourage people to read and listen. This is really, really good.
Yeah, the book is so good.
So remember, this is an energy type. It's not a personality. So you can have personality on top of that. So that, you can have a 4 that's more refined. And then you can have, a 3, like a 1 that's more organized and stuff. It doesn't mean like when I told Ben that he's like 1, he's like, I'm not like flighty and and I'm like, well, no, you've learned these other skills. And like 3s, like I said, my friend as a 3, she's very good at getting people to do stuff because she's like beautiful and happy and just like, hey, but then her energy comes through and it's like, I just want to do whatever she tells me to do. Right. So she's learned to refine that, and so people would never ever label her as pushy. They'll just label her as just determined and just strong. So, that's beautiful. And then, when we have strong people, we like, let's give that responsibility to her. She'll take care of it. Right. So,
and I think that what you said is because there are like the positive sides and then the negative sides. And really the negative sides are whenever you're not honoring yourself and you're insecure in who you are. Like you're not going to experience these, because when I first heard it, I was like, oh, I hate being a 1. I don't want to be a 1. 1s are flighty and flaky and like they're crappy. Like I don't even want to be a 1. Like when I realized that, I was like, I don't want to be a 1. And it was because it was touching every little insecure nerve that I had when I was younger. And it was exposing it. And I'm like, oh, and I was able to refine it and say, okay, so that is the side of me when I was not secure in who I am, when I was super adaptive and trying to make everybody happy and all of these things. That was because I didn't respect myself. And that's in every single energy type. Not to mention the fact the secondary really does have an effect on the primary also. But like you said, this is not a personality test. It's literally about the way you experience the world.
And like, I think energy too, like thinking of energy and motion being our emotions. And like, so when I'm not emotional resilience, which I'm taking a class now, which is really good in the church, but that was something that I have not matured in. So spiritually, even though I knew certain things or thought I did, or had experienced a lot of things, I hadn't matured in that confidence within who I was, because I didn't know why I was reacting in my emotions and going to addiction. And it was because I didn't own it. And now see this level, this particular test has helped me. I mean, the book too, tremendously. So it's really
great. And I think with Ashley and I, we interpret it from the energy balancing with faith perspective, because it's just about being a better us. So with Koertge, she turns it over to more, how you can dress your type and be more yourself in that way. But for us, we're interested in how we can like improve ourselves energetically and spiritually. So just one more thing, and I know Jamie, you said you have
Jamie next.
But with the type 2, I have a student that's type 2, and his parents are not. His parents are actually 3 and 4, and so they label him as sensitive. And I told her that he's actually, she's like, oh, I think he's a 1. He's just so silly. And I said, I think he's more of a 2 because he wants his feelings to be acknowledged. He cries a lot. He needs lots of, comfort. And he's very, what do you call it? Detailed and caring and just very considerate. And she's like, oh, I guess he is. And I said, but because he's a boy, in the this society where there's toxic masculinity culture, it's frowned upon to have a sensitive boy. So we can call, I said, if you want to label him, just tell him that he's a very caring, kind person, right? And that's okay, right? But he was trying to shut himself down and just joke to cover up that type 2 sensitive side of him. So she's like, oh, that makes sense. So anyways, Jamie, do you want to?
Yes, I just wanted to elaborate on what Ashley was saying about the cookie. So I'm the type 4 and my husband's a type 3 probably, I'm pretty sure now. He'd be, try this cookie. And I'd be like, no thanks, I don't want to eat it. And he'd be, try some. And I'll say, no, I don't want any. Try some. And then that would like sort of cross those boundaries that you were talking about earlier. Like he wants to share with me, right? And like, I don't know, like spend quality time or like enjoy something together. And I definitely don't want to eat this, and the thing is he will do that to my other type 4 child and she'll say no once or twice. And then he's like, eat it, and then she'll take the food, she'll eat it, but she'll cry.
Because he's disrespecting her. So he is an authority figure to her and he's imposing his authority on her as opposed to respecting her. And that's something that, that's a boundaries. Yeah.
Yeah. And like, it's like offensive to him that we don't even want to try it when he's like, it tastes really good, And sometimes I know what I want and sometimes I'll eat it, sometimes I don't. And if I don't want to eat it, I don't want you to cross my boundaries. And
just tell her to take the cookie and throw it at him. Because that's when the husband, he's like, have the Swizzler. And I'm like, huh. And then he's like, ah. But then, but then he actually kind of likes it a little bit. He kind of likes it a little bit because it's a fight. And he likes that too. So
that's the one response, right? Chuck it at people. Because that's funny. Right? Jamie's like, let me explain to you.
Like, so that would be a mess. And we don't like that. Yeah.
I don't know if that would work on him though, because then he would say that it's disrespectful.
This is awesome.
You can see the difference is if you are confident with yourself or not. And because she's a child and she's quite serious, that when someone crosses her boundaries, she'll do it anyway, but then she'll cry.
Because she knows her boundary, but because she honors his authority. But that's actually bad for them. And so you just tell him. And then honestly, because I bet you that he like, once he realizes what he's doing, he will like, oh, I'll never do it again. Because that's, like, I'm sure. Yeah.
I have to say that sometimes that like, I think it's the type 3 in them that don't ask for permission.
Yeah, they don't. They just do it. Yeah. And then they'll even like if they want, if the result is eating the cookie, and they want the result, they'll do it any way they can.
Yeah.
Over, under, or through you. Yeah.
I don't want the cookie.
Yes. Don't put it in me. Yep. Okay. All right, let's see where I'm at next. Thoughts and processes, selective. Okay, communication, logical and concise, value, respect. So this is something that that I learned with my, so we homeschool. And so like my type 4 boys, like they want me to teach them enough, but then if I teach them too much, they're like, do you think I'm an idiot? Like, am I stupid? And I'm like, I've only been teaching you this for like 2 minutes. They're like, well, obviously I haven't. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I will step away so you may internalize and do it better than me. You know what I mean? And so it's like, for that thing, like they want the instruction like concise, but then that's also how they convey. Like I tell the story of, you know, when Jay teaches something, it's like 2 + 2 is 4. That's what it is. But if I teach something, because I'm type 1, I'm like, well, there's these 2 monkeys and they each had 2 bananas. And so you had 2 bananas plus 2 more bananas and you had 4 bananas. And then, but that's not concise. That's like type 1, you know what I mean? As opposed to like concise, like to the point. All right, deep thinkers. No, we're not there. Okay, loyalty. So they really value loyalty, because loyalty is another word for respect. When you are loyal to somebody, you respect them, you honor them, but then you also receive the same. And if you are not loyal and they thought that you were loyal and you disrespect them, that is very hurtful. Same thing, straightforward. So same thing, like they just say it how it is. They're actually not usually going to protect your feelings. Not that they're going to try and hurt your feelings. They just might not consider your feelings because it's just how this is. Communication. Okay, straightforward communication is what that's supposed to say. Clear and few words. So I feel like that this is a little bit, it's not to say that they're not chatty, because, you know, like I'll talk to Jade or my sons a lot, especially if we're like having a good time together. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like they're like, let's have fun, and then there's a robot and then no more words are said. It's not like that. It's like if he tells a joke, like he tells the joke exactly. Like he's not going to like get creative on it. Like it's whatever he's expressing, like it is exactly what it's supposed to be. Same thing with literal. So this is a really funny example that Carol Tuttle gave. And it's that she had a type 4 son, and he was really good at detailing her car, like cleaning it out. And she said, okay, you know, can you detail my car in it, and in and out for $100? And, you know, there's a burger place called In-N-Out Burger. And so he was like, he's like, how do you even get $100 in In-N-Out Burger? And she's like, no, in and out of my car, and I'll pay you $100. But she said in and out $100, and she went in and out of her car for $100 because he took it very literal. He thought it, I don't know. I thought that was really funny. Okay, so and then what's after literal, guys, on number 5?
Okay, that's logical.
Logical, same thing. It's whatever they're doing, like their communication, they're thinking about it first, they're processing it first, and then they're expressing it. It's not just like blah, blah, blah. It's like thoughtful, and it happens.
Yeah, and I think what you're saying earlier is with the clear and few words is because it has to string together and connect. Because if it doesn't connect, there's no point in the conversation. You're just jumping around. And so I feel like this is, I got really good at this because we had Cheryl, are you there? Okay, so we had a person that we had to talk to about a difficult situation. And I felt like I can talk to her. I can just get straight to the point, because sometimes if you go around the bush, she doesn't know what you're saying, right? And so it was one of those conversations that you don't want to just do. But I said, look, I can do it, because I've learned to do it in love, but I learned to get straight to the point. And because of my energy of respect, she felt respected, and I was able to say what I needed to say. And then she took it like a champion. Yeah. And I think, sometimes when we're like, with my friend type 2, it's like, oh, I don't want her to be uncomfortable. And so you have to, I think it's best to get somebody like a type 4 to kind of say it, because I don't mind if she's uncomfortable, right? If she knows she's going to get results, she's going to listen. But I get her to get to the space of respect, and then she's like, okay, you want this from me, and this is the result. Okay, got it. And she took it like a champ, and I was like so grateful. Yeah.
That's exactly. Thank you for that. The next one is behavior tendencies. ever loyal. I actually love this so much. I feel like my son, like they might fuss at each other or whatever in the family, but loyal. You know what I mean? Like you're not going to disrespect our family, like just very loyal to themselves and also to their project, whatever it is that they're doing, like whatever their focus is, they're loyal to their project. Like they respect it. They spend a lot of time there. They respect themselves, ever loyal. So they are often misunderstood. So like I said, with the cookies, like Ben actually was probably really happy. The lady that brought me cookies because she came over, and he does like talking to people and that sort of thing, but sometimes can be misunderstood if because their communication is not as like cheerful sometimes, like it can be exact. So loyal to those they love. So like if they're your buddy, then they're your buddy, and that's just how it is. Extremes. Okay, so they're like, they do not handle disrespect well at all. This is one of those things they're talking about. If you disrespect them like this, these are the ones that will have the emotional outburst if they're disrespected, because they do respect themselves so, and the thing that they're working on so much, to where they've invested so much there, to whenever you disrespect that thing or disrespect them, it can be an extreme outburst. Like my son Noah, he is 18, but whenever he was in first grade, so he always was like really smart, really good at school, literally never had a problem. But his teacher called me one day and said that he like pitched a huge fit, screaming, yelling in the back of the classroom. And I was like, are you talking about my child? So like, knowing now, I think to myself, back then, she must have really done something that shamed or disrespected him. But then I was like, what in the world? Are you speaking of my child? Like my child is like so good in class, like a wonderful student, like quiet, like honestly, my mind was blown. But like looking back now, like it wasn't like a little like pouty fit, like it was an explosion at the back of the classroom. And I really feel like now that she must have disrespected him somehow. And she called me in the middle of the day and I had to come get him. And I was like, what is the matter? And he wouldn't talk about it. He wouldn't talk about it. And so I didn't know at that point what was going on. But now, like knowing what I know now, you don't disrespect type 4s, which you should never disrespect anybody, honestly, because whenever you respect yourself, you naturally respect others. But really don't disrespect a 4 or a type 4 energy. So they really need privacy. So something she says, which this is very interesting, is she said, if any of your children, it's going to have their own room, it's the type 4, because they like their own space, because they have their own things going on. They want their space. They respect their things. They spend time with them, and they honestly just need that time to reflect quietly, privately. And so that's something that I actually learned with my son. This is one of those like moments where I'm going to share something, and I'm hoping I don't regret it. But so in one of our last houses, we had 4 bedrooms. Well, my daughter shared, and then my youngest son had his own room because nobody wanted to share with them. And then my 2 sons, which were both 4s, they shared a room. Well, they decided they didn't want to share a room. And we had this one closet that was this massive closet that we used to call the Harry Potter closet because it was underneath the stairs. And they actually chose to have that as their room so that they could have privacy, and we slid a twin bed in there, and he had his own room. But really, really just time for his, like he would go sit in there in that little sliver of a room. They just really enjoy that time to reflect. Anyway, so any comments? Yes.
That makes so much sense because, my 2 kids share a room. And I thought it would build rapport, but my type 4 child gets so upset when her sister touches her bed or touches her things or messes the sequence of how her, pillows are placed or something. And then the little one, I think she does it on purpose just to get a kick out of it.
It's fun. It's fun to see people scream sometimes.
Yeah, the result.
I don't know, but it causes me so much angst because it's like every night, every morning, get off my bed, get off my bed. You know?
Probably because she put them there very thoughtfully. Probably she was like,
She's very, very thoughtful, and she's so precise in everything and a little bit too black and white for my liking.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so embarrassment is terrible punishment. So if you're going to reprimand or talk to a type 4 child or even adult, do it privately, because whereas like maybe a type 1 would let it roll off their shoulders, or type 2 would like pout a little bit, or type 3 would yell back. A type 4 will actually like take it very internally and really it's actually like the shame is really really bothersome to them. So need for solitude, for introspection, observe and then observe and then engage. So like I said, at the party, they're going to be looking at everything, even like looking at a food, really kind of looking at it, deciding, okay, is this really something that I want to put in my mouth? Like, does it smell right? Does it look right? Is it whatever? And even looking around at the other people. This is my kids. Like, my son Ben, he'll try new things if there's enough people that he thinks are respectable people trying it. Like if Sam's eating it, he doesn't care. Sam's my baby. But if like Lily and Noah are eating it like really with enthusiasm, then he will briskly take a bite, like just to like dip the palate to see if it's not going to like kill him to death. And then he'll be like, oh, turns out this is good. And then he'll eat it. But very like thoughtful before engaging. So routine, they do enjoy a routine, and very reliable. If they say they'll do it, then they'll do it. Because that's also respect. Any comments or questions?
Well, that's funny, Ashley, when you're talking about food, because I know that when I go to a restaurant, I choose very carefully, and I'll just, almost guarantee that I like it. If I don't know for sure, then I'll choose the one that has been successful in the past. And then I let Ben do the experiment. And then if that's successful, I add it to my repertoire. He doesn't mind getting something new and being.
You can have something crazy, but me, I'm gonna like what I like. Yeah.
Because if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it right.
Yeah. You don't want to screw up a whole meal, especially if you have to pay for it. Yeah. Okay. So
can I say something?
Okay.
I thought it was funny too about the food part, because I've been like, as I'm going through all of these, I'm really able to pinpoint more what I think every member of my family is. And my one son that I, from the beginning, believed was a 4, that solidified it, because he was my one kid that his food couldn't touch on his plate. And if he didn't like the way it looked, he would not eat. And you just definitely could not force him to do it. But there were many times when he would just turn and run away from the table crying. So, but that was so funny. Oh my gosh. He's a 4.
Yeah. Okay. So physical characteristics, like we said, like the Keanu, the sad Keanu thing, like oftentimes they look reflective, but, and also they usually have a lot of symmetry in their face, erect posture. So they're going to be the ones like more sitting up straight, like or look just honestly, just more regal or respectful of themselves. A smooth skin, because like I said, without all that movement, a lot of times I have a friend visiting, my friend, Deborah is visiting, and she has very smooth skin. And it's because you're not like, super expressive. So you don't have all the lines or anything like that. Higher cheekbones, straight and symmetrical. So that's usually type 1, what they look like, which if you want to look at pictures, you can go on her website, caroltuttle.com, and you can see actual pictures, and it's even better than just like words on a page. But that's the physical characteristics of type 1s. Okay, so child whisperer, top 10 things a type 4 needs. Support for being their own authority. So I have this story. Okay, so my type 3 daughter, Lily, she was probably like 3 or no, she was probably talking more. So she was probably like 4 or 5. And she was sitting in her car seat and she was singing this song. And she was singing like, I am the fastest runner in the world. And then my son Noah goes, no, you're not. Sonic the Hedgehog is. And then she's like, I'm the most beautiful princess ever made. And he's like, no, you're not. Cinderella is. And then like singing this other song about maybe that she's has the blondest hair. And he's like, no, you don't. Goldilocks does. But like everything that she was saying, like, it's okay. Like, it's a little bit like you could see it as being critical, or you can see it as they're just the authority. They just know that obviously Sonic the Hedgehog is faster than a 5-year-old little girl. You know what I mean? And so just allowing them to be their own authority and respecting them as they do that.
So Ashley, a little bit more insight. I feel it's the 4th thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's exactness. It's about exactness.
Okay. I think you're right.
Yeah, if you don't speak in exactness, inside there's this compass that's like, oh, that's not truth. And I can't breathe, you know, like I gotta tell you the truth, you know. And then I've learned to shut up, you know, when I don't feel the inspiration to say something, because otherwise I'll come across as giving unsolicited advice, right?
Yeah.
But you know, growing up, it's like it's not truth. And so, you know, you can't say that because this is Cinderella has blonde hair, you know. So
yeah, and that is right, because I was like, Ben, why do you, because I used to say, he would argue, so whenever he was like 9, he would argue with his 5-year-old little sister, and I'd say, why are you arguing with a 5-year-old? And he would say, it's because she's wrong, and it's important that she knows that what's right. And I was like, no, it's not. Like, just stop arguing. But like in you saying that, I can hear that very much. I'm sure, because I would say, let's go to the dollar store, and he'd be like, the Dollar Tree
detector. Like, this is a truth detector. Are you sure? But now, you know, as an adult, I'm like, you know, it's not important to be right all the time, right? But at the, you know, when I was younger, it's like, no, that's just doesn't feel truth, and I'm lying to. Don't make me lie.
Yeah. So what do you guys do for Santa Claus? That's what I want to know.
The kids play along. They know it. Ever since they were little. Yeah, it was good.
Okay, so same thing. Give them respect, even as like a 2-year-old or a 3-year-old. Like from the beginning, respect. Like I said, my friend Deborah is visiting. She has her son who's 3, and she has brought him along. And so like knowing that he's a type 4, like very honoring, like I'll say something like, I had Lily go in and ask him if he wanted a banana because he was hungry. But like, if you don't want that, that's fine. I honor your choice. You know, I mean, I'm not going to be offended. Like, just even from little age, respect and honor. Give them privacy. My type, okay, so my son, okay, we are very like, we spend a lot of time in the bathroom together. And so my type 4 son would be like, everybody leave. I want my privacy, doing my business. And I'm like, you're like 2. And so I need to make sure that you don't pee all over the seat. You know what I mean? And he's like, you can see when I'm done. And I'm like, okay. And so but it's obviously more than just using the bathroom, but just that privacy and doing whatever it is that they want. Because the other part of that is, as they're finding the truth, if you will, to become their own authority, they want to experiment privately because they don't want to mess up in front of people, because they respect themselves and they respect you. And so they respect kind of their behind the scene time working it out. Validation, and it's okay to be serious in 4. It's okay to be serious in 4. You're not broken. You're just right. It's okay to be serious in 4, or serious in 3, or serious in 11, or serious in an adult. So time to reflect. So they do enjoy the party, but they can get enough. And so they just need to kind of have their time to reflect. Either it's with their parent or just, You know what I mean? When they say they're done, then they're done, because, and it's not because they hated what was going on. It's just, they just need their time. Just like I said, my son, Ben, he had this group of boys in the neighborhood, and they would play for a long time. They would play until long, and then they'd be like knocking on the door, like, let's go back and all play. And he's like, I've just had enough for a little bit. And then he would go find them later, because he just needed his time. He just needed his time. Attention when communicating. So when they talk, pay attention, because they may not repeat it ever again. Okay, so pay attention. Bigger picture plan notice. So because they are so thoughtful and focusing on what it is that they are doing, let them know, okay, we're about to do this thing. So I know that you're over here working on something that's important to you. So we need to wrap up. So can you find a stopping point, because we're going to do this? Or here are these plans. We had plan A, but plan A is not going to happen anymore. We're going to work on plan B, but we're not doing it right now. We're going to do it tomorrow. So, because they might have already been planning, like, this is what I'm going to do in plan A. And then for you just to yank it out from them and then say plan B is a little bit abrupt. So here's plan A, but just so you know, we're not going to do this anymore. Tomorrow, plan B. And that way they have time to adjust and actually replan for plan B. So social help. So sometimes they're going to feel like awkward. They might feel awkward because they are not, like I said, they're not the little typical playful, 5-year-old. And so it's like, just tell them that they're actually not awkward, that they're thoughtful. You know what I mean? They're and validate them as like, you're just right. Okay, so don't sweat the small stuff. So if they're taking something really seriously and you think it's ridiculous, treat it seriously, because if it's serious to them and they honor themselves, and the one way for you to honor them is to honor that thing that they find to be important, whether it's, like a small horse figurine that they got at the store and they are really searching really hard for it, and you're like, oh, it doesn't matter. Well, it does matter. So, support them with whatever it is. So avoid these phrases. All right, what's after you are? So avoid these phrases. You are what?
Loner.
What is,
stop being.
Okay, you're a loner. Yeah, you're a loner. So don't tell them that. They're not a loner. They're just thoughtful. You're being picky. Well, you know what? They are, and good for you. Good for you for being picky. Good for you for knowing what you want. Good for you. That's not a negative connotation. The other word is selective instead of picky.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a know-it-all. So sadly, this is okay. So my son Noah. So we had this joke, and we would always say Noah knows, because he always, like, if you had any random fact or any, like, he always knew the answer. He always knows, and so we'd say Noah knows, and he would say, look at us, and he'd say, you're saying that as a insult, but I take it as a compliment. And so, like, it's not like a know-it-all is only what somebody that's insecure says to somebody because they don't know it, and so they feel insecure about it. So it's not your know-it-all. Like, good for you for spending your time learning. Smile more. Same thing. Like, if it's not their natural energy, just to be doing that, that's okay. Like, why would it matter if somebody's smiling more? It's important that they're honoring how they feel, or that's about making somebody else comfortable. So lighten up, you're uptight, and quit being so critical. So quit being so critical. Sometimes that can feel like, I could say even at my own house, the quit being so critical part, like, if they won't be critical if you're asking for their opinion. If you ask for their opinion, then, and they feel like that you care, then they actually won't pick you to pieces, because they usually won't share everything that they know anyway. But if you ask for their input, then you're actually going to probably find a better way to do something, like with chores. You know what I mean? Like, or even honestly, like I said, okay, you did these 2 things. What do you think is a fair, not necessarily punishment, but you said that you would do this. So for instance, I said to my son, I need for you to take the recycling bins out to the trash, out to the street for the trash guy to come get them. Well, he did not. And I said, okay, well, what are we going to do about this? Instead of being like, Noah, I said, well, what are we going to do about this? Well, we have a dumpster that's on our property. He said, well, I can roll it over to the dumpster, dump it in, and then roll it back, which was a lot more work than just rolling it out to the street. But, you know, if I would have just punished him, then we would have been left with a full recycling thing for the week. But, you know, if you ask for their input for different things, they actually usually have a pretty good solution. Any comments? No.
So
Okay.
actually, there's one more that they're judged. They're what do you call it? Judged. Yeah, judged as judgmental, right?
Okay.
And so for me, I had to sit down and go, am I judgmental? And I realized when I was praying to God, he says, well, judgmental is, you know, putting them in a box and saying that's you forever, you know. But if it's not conclusive, it's like currently they're being this way, because we do need to kind of be selective, right?
Mhm.
Our friends and stuff, it's like, hey, that person is taking too much of my time. You have to kind of be like, what is it up with them? So for me, I love studying people, because I'm like, what makes you tick? You know, and then it's like, oh, but that person's being that right now. So with my husband and I, we decided that we should emphasize on the word yet. Okay, so hey, that person's not good at that yet. You know, or I'm not good at this yet. So it gives us room to grow, and we're not, you know, blocking them and condemning them to this is the final place that you'll ever be.
Like definitive. Yeah, it's not definitive.
Yeah. So then I could get rid of that label, you know, because people, you know, they just are different. So they'll view it in their negative perspective if they want to. But for me, I get this opportunity to clarify and say, no, yeah, I was just helping you know, with clarity here and with truth. So
yeah, that's really good, because like you said, it's not judgmental. It's actually, I guess it's actually assessing even.
So Debbie says judge wise and not condemn. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so word portrait: articulate, bold, clear, concise, loyal, focused, honorable, logical, poised, proper, reserved, responsible, serious, thorough, well-mannered, and well-behaved. And I feel like if you have that type 4 energy, if you look at yourself in those words, in those positive words, like one of the ones, like for me, for type 1 was brilliant. And I actually never thought about myself as brilliant. But then whenever you think about your life and you think about these things and you choose to see these things in your life, it's self-affirming to the good that you have to offer. And so focusing on these word portrait words, like with your own children, and seeing them as those things as opposed to the negative labels that sometimes we actually make, which, you know, is until you know, you don't know. And so then once you know, you do better. All right. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Ashley. Yeah. We're talking about, you know, understanding ourselves so we can have more self-love. And when you have self-love, you understand your purpose. And when you just play your role, the world will be more peaceful. And you know, if you honor yourself, you've accepted yourself, so you're no longer that insecure person. So this is just brilliant. And I feel like, you know, if we can just ask people to help them. But what about the people who don't know exactly what they are? Or what would you say to that?
So for me, like I was actually reading this thing and it was talking about why, like, actually, so a lot of type 1 people actually have a hard time placing themselves or finding their energy because they're super highly adaptable. And it's because they're busy trying to make everybody happy. And the reason why they're trying to make everybody happy is because that is the thing that they feel like makes them happy, but it turns out that's not the thing that makes them happy, because you can never make anybody anything ever, because that's actually controlling and not supportive of yourself. And so I guess what I would say is decide the thing that you feel like what your natural feeling is, and the thing that actually, because actually the more serious child, the thing that makes them happy, literally happy, is that time to be introspective. The type 3, the determined child, the thing that makes them happy is being determined and having those results. The type 2, the thing that makes them happy is whenever they are comfortable. And then the type 1, the thing that makes them happy is whenever they're fun and bringing hope to the world. And so actually literally find the things that make you happy, like literally meet yourself and do it on purpose. That's a quote from somewhere. You know what I mean? And yeah, that's what I would say.
So Ashley, is this the last slide?
That's it. That's it.
Okay, so I stop share, and I could share one more, and then it'll help. I think Debbie to decide who you are, because this is what happened. Right, I had to ask myself, because I was a little bit confused, because I'm like, oh, I feel a lot, so I get, I can connect to people. I feel a lot. Am I a 2 or am I a 4? And then when I asked myself the question, if I'm going to make a decision, what stands out? Like Ashley, will you like unshare then?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, is this it?
I said, what's most important? One more click, Ashley.
Let's see. Stop share. Haha, done. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Debbie.
I was just gonna say, I was kind of sitting with this for a minute a little bit ago. I just think I'm going through this like big evolution.
Yes.
With myself. I really, really do. I think everything that's going on in my life, probably in the last year and more recently, but I just feel like there's like a massive evolution that's happening.
Yeah.
Or an excavation.
It's a good word, excavation. So just, yeah. I feel like if I could just look at your face and look at what I know about you, perhaps when you were younger, you kind of try to adapt to other people, but it feels like, you're more of a 2.
Yeah. So, and also like, so you can see in the facial features, and that's the thing, like, you don't know what you are, look at the face.
And the thing is, when I see you, it's that gentle nature, and look at your home. You make it comfortable for people. Yeah. Yep. Just the way it's designed, it's about comfort. So, like you look at this and you're like, I have secondary and I have primary. So if you ask yourself, is the primary reason for me to do this is to be comfortable so that I could be joyful, right? Men are that they might have joy. So we go through the happiness. I feel like the word happiness, it could be also interchangeable with the word fun. So if I go through the fun, I'll have my joy. If I go through that comfort, then I'll have my joy. If I get results, then I'm going to be joyful, right? If I feel respected, then I'll be joyful, right? And so that's our like pathway that we get to where we want to go, right? And I feel like this will help us understand the thoughts and the beliefs that we hold and why we created those thoughts and beliefs under the surface, the subconscious. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I think I'm 2 and 4 then.
Yeah.
And my husband is completely opposite.
Yep. So I feel that's you. Yeah. That would make sense. You're the 2 and the 4, but you've learned to be more assertive.
Yeah. So many ways.
2 is not. Yeah, 2 is not unassertive. 2 is peaceful, and they're asserting themselves. Yeah.
She's not controlling like the 3 though, right? She's not controlling like the 3, but she's respectful, very respectful.
Because she would back down if there's like tenseness. Like, I just want everyone to be comfy, just okay, be comfortable. And then when people are uncomfortable and they throw a hissy fit, you're like, what can I do to fix it so that you can be comfortable, right? But now she knows, like, wait, I'm not responsible for everybody's happiness. And then
That's why I say like that part of me has evolved. I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
okay with you being uncomfortable and me being uncomfortable sometimes.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is so good because I think that you are the perfect two, and Ashley's 1, you're 2, and 3.